Hello, ladies and gents. Interesting question. Do you think that Marvel deserves more Oscars? Do you think? I don't, personally. I don't think they're, penalised or anything like that. But Kevin Feige, interestingly, came out in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter saying that they are penalised because of the Marvel logo and genre bias. I have never looked at a Marvel film and thought to myself, that right there, ladies and gents, that is Oscar worthy. Never. I've never done that about, a DC film. Joker I did, in fairness. But that is a genre film told through a DC banner, I guess, is a good way of putting it. You wouldn't look at, I don't think Man of Steel deserves, maybe some of the scores deserve Oscars for Man of Steel. But there's not a lot, there's not a lot that I look at of comic book movies on a whole and go, that deserves an Oscar. One of my favourite comic book movies of all time, Dredd. Amazing film. I'm not going to look at that and go, that deserves an Oscar. I'm just not. But I think that's an incredible film. One of my favourite films of all time. But here we have Kevin Feige in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter basically decrying... And by the way, I don't think the Oscars are worth anything. I think the Oscars are a bag of bollocks. I think they're just shit. But here we have Kevin Feige decrying that the Oscars owe them something, basically, which is just shocking to me. But maybe I'm, maybe I'm off base. Maybe you guys think so. Let's have a look at this, right? Films inspired by comic books have historically had an uphill battle at the Academy Awards, dating back to Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight being snubbed for a Best Picture nomination. But 3 years ago, Ryan Coogler's Black Panther broke ground as the first superhero movie to earn a Best Picture nomination, and went on to win in 3 categories. Now, I think there's an interesting discussion to be had about Black Panther. I don't think Ryan Coogler's Black Panther deserved a Best Picture nomination at all. I think the Academy and also the critics were bullied into it because they were like, it's the first black this, it was the first black that. And I know that'll upset a few people, but you're going to tell me that Black Panther, a CGI-ridden mess, which it is, but just shot all entirely on sound stages, was worthy of a Best Picture nomination. It was one of the best films that year. No. There was definitely some political leaning, socio-political leaning involved in that, right? 100%. You cannot tell me with a straight face and, an above average IQ that that film deserved a Best Picture nomination. Not at all. Absolutely not at all. Shocking. But yeah, that one, broke ground, and it would win in 3 categories as well. I mean, good for it, sure, whatever. But I don't think it deserved it personally. Looking back at Black Panther's accolades, Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige notes that Oscar wins for composer Ludwig Göransson, costume designer Ruth E. Carter, and production designers Hannah Beachler and Jay Hart meant a lot to the Marvel team. Yet he acknowledges such Academy recognition can be a challenge. And here we go. Here's the sort of decrying stuff, and I just think that's sad. So here we go, right? I think we are always at a deficit because of the Marvel logo and because of a genre bias that certainly exists. I just loved that for a shining moment there with Black Panther that was put aside and the work was recognised for the achievement that it was. Says Feige, who would like to see Shang-Chi recognised as well, pointing to the work of team members such as screenwriter Dave Callaham, production designer Sue Chan, composer Joel P. West, costume designer Kim Barrett, and cinematographer William Pope, among others. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Pointing out one of the only other films which was, I guess, pegged by Marvel and also media and Disney as this is our first Chinese superhero. Yeah! It's interesting that they focus on that as one which they want to, to hit the ground running with another Academy Award. Both movies have been used by audiences and critics as sort of a political battering ram. And these are the movies that Kevin Feige once recognised. Shang-Chi, as somewhat entertaining as it was, and I had a reasonably good time with Shang-Chi, is not worthy of any Oscars at all. I mean, he literally notes he would want screenwriter. Why? That was incredibly bland as a script. What screenwriter? You think that the screenwriter deserves an Academy Award? Really? You think the screenwriter was one of the best that year? Give over, son. Production designer Sue Chan. Production design? Really? Bland. Again, it was really, really bland. Composer. I can't remember any standout piece of music in that film. And the cinematography was a rip-off of many other Eastern films. You know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon being one. I don't think you should be giving out Oscars for copying, personally. But, yeah, again, I do find it interesting that the two movies recognise, or at least one recognised, and then the one which they want to be recognised, are the ones which could be used as a agenda battering ram. But anyway, here we go, whatever. Is what it is, I guess. And he says further, there are a lot of comic fans that didn't know who Shang-Chi was. And yet the work that Destin did, and Dave did, and Sue did, and Joel did, created something new that connected with audiences, says Feige. We recognised it. The audience recognised it. And I sure would love the hard work of all of these people who are telling their story to get recognised. Interesting. Now, before Marvel hired Creton in 2019, the director acknowledges he struggled to imagine the kind of pitch that might win him the job, since nothing was clicking with him. He instead decided to pitch the type of story he wished he'd seen as a kid. And, you know, this is, like, I agree, this is the right approach to do, you know. I didn't think it necessarily was going to be something that Marvel wanted. It was a very intimate pitch about a relationship between a father and a son and a family, learning how to come together with their pain. I think that's a good approach, but do I think the end result deserved it? And like, I just think it's, like, I'm looking at this article and I'm like, that is really lazy of you, Kevin Feige. That is actually really quite lazy. That, you know, the movie that you think deserves it is, boom, the one which can be used as a sort of like a, you know, social political tool. Just sad to see that that's the approach you're taking. I don't think any movie from Marvel necessarily deserves an Oscar, quite frankly. I hope that there will be one day. I hope we do get a Marvel movie, maybe a new Wolverine that is so good, the performance is outstanding. Because this is a complex character. Give me complex characters. That's the problem, right? I don't think there's many Marvel characters that are overly complex in their cinematic universe. But again, I'm preaching to the choir here, or, you know, shouting down a tornado, because there'll be lots of people either side shouting at me. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe though. Thanks so much for watching. Give the video a like, and please do share it. Take care.